you started working in KKM around 2011. I guess that's
Yeah,
about the
yeah.
same time. Yeah, that's about the same time I also started working in KKM. But while I was working there, like half the time it was enjoyable sometimes because I had great colleagues and I had this mindset I wanted to learn as much as I could. But slowly being there, I felt very stagnant. I started to feel like I wasn't growing and I was constantly exhausted and overworked. Half the time, I'm not in my own bed, I'm sleeping in the hospital. And there are times I wondered if there was more. So, what was the experience like for you in KKM?
Oh wow. Like I think same experience with everyone. I think the initial training time was very tough. It was just tough, and mainly because you were still learning, and then you try to get the work done, but your workload is so much, and we often get scolding if you still remember back. I mean, I'm not sure whether is it now still the same, but back in those days, we used to get a lot of scolding when we would just join as a junior, and after that you slowly pick things up and then become more and more better, and then the scolding get lesser and less but never disappear. I think the tough part is the work life balance for me. Like, you remember, like, in a month time we used to have to work 2 weekend, which means that your weekend was just gone, and then you have two more weekend left, and sometimes you have to work like long day on Friday, and then that makes only Saturday and Sunday. So work life balance was very limited, affected, and the long working hour as well. 24 hours from 8 a.m. to 8 a.m. It was initially when I was still young. You're in 20s, early 20s. No, sorry, mid 20s. You're still able to do that, and then you're still able to live a normal life after your 24-hour shift. But eventually, I think as you approach 30s, you get more and more exhausted, and basically the post call day you just spend like at home resting, and the next day you are back in work again. So I think this, like a snowball, you slowly accumulate, and then eventually you get fatigued and you get exhausted, and then you start to doubt yourself, how long am I going to do this, and how are you going to survive this for this long period of time, for whole life? Yeah.
So, how did you motivate yourself to quit, not resign, and keep going?
Well, actually, this has been went through my mind many, many times. I can't even remember how many times. Before the exam, stressful time, I often ask myself, like, is the right path for me? Whether do I want to continue doing that? But I think what I learned from a lot of people is don't make decisions when you are at the most stressful time. You let it pass, and then have a proper thought and discussion, and have a proper chat with people, especially more senior people or your supervisor and things like that. So eventually, for me, why I still doing the same clinical jobs, and still doing persisting despite of that, is because on a good day I find it rewarding, and then I was like recharged, and I feel that okay, I can do this again. I can keep on going, and in long term I realized that I clinical works is really something that I enjoy. I might have a bad day, but let's just pass it and then focus on the good day and try to get a balance during a heavy work day. So on and off, I had like some hiccups, some obstacles and all that, but just try to stay focused on your long term goal, and then that is where am I today. Yeah.
Do you think that that came with and wisdom to know that
Yes,
there are good days and bad days?
definitely, definitely. I think growing up that changed your mind as well. Like last time for me, it's just work and work, and I'm not thinking so much on family. But I think as I grow older, especially now I have a wife and a 4 months old, I feel like I want to spend more time with the family, because I mean work is work, but sometimes the precious time with the family, if it's lost, it's lost. So you need to find a balance. Really, really need to find a balance for it, so that you won't exhaust yourself too much, but at the same time you can move on with your career, and you get to spend time with the family.
So, what was rewarding for you while you were working in KKM?
Like you said earlier days, although it's tough, high workload, but we do have like a very good colleague. We used to stay back after work, even though we are not on call, just to help our colleagues. I'm not saying that everyone is fantastic, but we do have like a good team of people. So that makes you feel satisfied, like knowing that you have someone working as hard as you, and then we try to get the job done, and And at the end of the day, you go back late, but then you feel satisfied and you have a good bonding with your colleague back in those days in Sungai Buloh as well. Other rewarding things in KKM, I would say the clinical exposure is really, really good, especially now I'm in overseas. I'm really grateful that I was trained in KKM because you get to do so many things during your junior time, like, and especially on call where everything went could be chaotic, where you do CPR for two CPR in the night and then you do lots of procedures in ICU. You see a lot of cases. I think that is the very precious part of the training and it's rewarding. Might not rewarding during that time, but it is definitely rewarding for me now because it gives me like a very good foundation and a good exposure before I work in other countries.
Join disruptive doctors. Oh, oh, disruptive.